Next week, I'm launching my app for iOS. It's an AI app that's going to help people with screen time addiction. And we already have 250 people on the wait list ready to go, just wanting us to drop it immediately. So I'm going to create a separate video about how to market your app before releasing it and then when you release it. But for this video, I just want to explain how you can build an AI app for Android, for Apple, or for the web. Because it's never been more accessible than it is right now to go into a market and innovate and just completely rug pull whoever the dominant players are. So right now in the market that I'm playing in, there's several apps that are very popular and very successful and good apps that I might add. However, none of them are using AI. And AI just adds a level of functionality and a level of helpfulness, really, that they cannot compete with. And so I'm very confident that we're going to be able to go in there and outcompete them. And you should think about it like this too. There are so many industries that got disrupted by the internet. There's so many industries that got disrupted by the computer. So this is a beautiful time. This still has only happened a couple times in the history of the world where you can have a validated market. It is 100% a good market to go after that, will result in a lot of customers, a lot of needs, and a lot of people wanting the solution. And you can innovate in that already validated market. And so if you think about it, it's kind of, I'm not going to say risk-free, but you're guaranteed to have people that are interested in your solution because the market's been proven. Yet you can innovate and you can out-innovate multi-million, $100 million companies by infusing AI into the product offering. And there's really so many examples I could give for this, but the first one that comes to mind, well, not the first one that comes to mind, but a big one that comes to mind would be what we're seeing right now in the market with calorie trackers. So Cal AI, you're probably familiar with, essentially took what MyFitnessPal was doing and they added AI to it. It wasn't even a very complicated build what they did. It's actually very straightforward. And as a result, they're doing I think it's $250K a month or something like that. So that's a perfect example of a validated market, products and businesses that are crushing it in that market. You can go out innovate them and out compete them by adding AI into the offering. Now, how you add AI is where it gets tricky. And that's what this video is really about, is how to think about adding AI into a product in a specific industry or niche. And a lot of people say, I use AI all the time. I use ChatGPT. I use Claude sometimes. And I think that that's cool. And that's definitely AI. But if you're going to be infusing AI into an app, you need to be able to think from first principles and actually understand how artificial intelligence works. Understand how it references data and pulls information through the data sets. And how does it spit out, what is a RAG system? What is an LLM? What is machine learning? All of these things are very important. And so I think my number one core message for this video is if you're thinking about building an AI app, you need to do two things. Step one, you need to identify the industry. And step two, you need to identify the vertical in the industry. So let's use the Cal AI example. The industry is fitness, health and fitness, but the vertical is calorie tracking. So it's really like nutrition and calorie tracking. So that's what you need to do first and foremost. It's pretty easy. There's a lot of industries that are successful. There's a lot of industries that have product market fit. And from there, identify the top players in the market. This is exactly what I did. I made a spreadsheet, I identified all of them. I had all of their top competitors. And you could even use an LLM to help you do this, right? So you can go to the LLM and say, here's the market, here's my competitors. How could we think about adding AI to these solutions in a way that would create a moat and make us different and stand out from the rest? That's just an exercise. You're really going to need to be able to use your brain power for this. And you're going to need to deeply understand how this technology works if you actually want to be able to come up with solutions. Because if you can understand the underlying way the technology works, you can theoretically kind of build a bridge between how that technology works to the end result of what these other products and services that are already validated have. And so, with Cal AI, I think it came out last year, I believe, last summer probably, which is around the time where OpenAI rolled out an update that has LLMs being able to analyze an image and essentially look at an image and say, here's what's going on, here's what the image is, etc. And so it was kind of the perfect time to say, okay, there's a new AI feature. Let's go build MyFitnessPal, but let's add AI to it. And you can do that with any industry. Now, how about the actual building of the app? Well, I'm not an engineer. I don't have a technical background, so I spent a lot of time learning how AI and these LLMs work. And then from there, I was able to conceptualize the actual product. There's two routes you can take from there. Either A, you can go and build it, and there's a lot of amazing tools to help with that. There's Cursor, Claude Code, etc. And then there's also Replit, VO, all these AI tools that will basically design your UI for you, and then you just go and build the backend. Well, on that note, I didn't want to build the app. I wanted to focus on the marketing and sales, and it's really important to understand what your strong suit is before diving into this. And so what I did is I went on Y Combinator co-founder matching, and I literally did basically Tinder for co-founders and jumped on interviews with people, talked to people, and just tried to understand, what's your expertise? What are you passionate about? Are we aligned in kind of the strategy that we want for this business, or the actual use case for this business? And you're essentially pitching these developers on your ideas. I found an amazing guy, just amazing human being that's also very talented with developing and coding. And we got to work. And here we are about 8 months later, ready to release this thing. So you don't actually have to build this app if you're not a technical person. That's okay. And it's also okay if you do build it. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do it, but at the end of the day, you need to have product market fit. And so I suggest creating a lot of content before you actually release the product to see, is this resonating with the market? Do we actually have something here? In our case, we've had a couple videos go insanely viral that has just completely jacked our growth up, well, at least our waitlist growth, and it's really exciting. And I can't wait to release the app, but I think what's even more important is that it's a long road after you release. You get so excited to go to release date, and as someone that has had multiple businesses before, it's so exciting when you launch. The problem is, then the emotion and the hype dies down. Can you continue to show up 3 months later, 6 months later, 9 months later, a year later, especially if you're struggling? So if you're not ready to commit to at least a year, I just don't even really think it's worth your time. But these are my thoughts on building an AI app, and I'm really excited to launch, and you can check it out if you want. But ultimately, I think that this is an incredible opportunity for anyone because of the opportunity to innovate in these massive markets. So all you have to do is decide, am I the builder or am I the seller? If you're not the builder, you need to go find a builder. But after that, you just need to find your market. You need to find products in the market that have product market fit, and you need to figure out how you can innovate on those products by adding AI into it. And this is just a no-brainer way that you can hit millions of dollars in revenue over the course of a couple years. I truly believe it. So that's how I'm going about this. I'm curious if you're doing something similar, or if you've thought about doing something similar, because it really does feel like we're in a gold rush right now. And I don't know if it's going to last another 6 months, another 5 years, 10 years. It's hard to say, really. So let's see.